rest. Let's get started. So we're going to start with a clean to catch. So rather than cleaning in the rack position, you're going to catch it with the bell portion in that other hand. Start the timer. You'll be able to hear it as well. Ready, and catching it in that other hand, performing a downswing as if I was going to do a full swing or full clean, but instead of, like I said, racking it up, we're going to catch in that other hand. There's a lot of variations that you can incorporate here, foot positions, adding rotation, lots of fun stuff that I actually really enjoy with this variation. We'll talk about it during the break. So we're going to go through all these exercises, and then we'll take a minute break, and we're going to go one more time through. So 15 seconds. Let's do the other arm so we don't burn out the forearm. So I'll give you another angle here. Clean to catch, catching it in that bell in the hand position. Ready, and clean to catch. So I can incorporate a dead start position. I can add in, like I said, some rotation. I can come outside the leg. Lots of variations that I can incorporate this, but no matter what, make sure you're maintaining that tension. You're performing a solid downswing. You're not just letting the weight pull you down, which is a common mistake people make when they incorporate any kind of ballistic kettlebell exercise. And all right, back to the other arm. We're doing bottoms up position, and we're going to go into a march. So you're going to hold that bell where your forearm is vertical, and depending on the size of the bell, if the bell's pretty light, you can bring that elbow up higher. If it's pretty heavy, you can drop that elbow down, but the whole goal is to keep that forearm vertical. So your grip is just going to be firing. We're adding that march, get a little bit more core work to help your shorts right up. Breathe through that tension. I like bottoms up walks, but if you don't have a lot of room, this is a great alternative. And down. Other side. So this is going to burn out your forearms, really help strengthen your grip. If your weight is just a little bit too heavy, use your other hand as support and just kind of make sure that you don't need some dental work after this. But try to stay as upright as possible. You can control each position, slow it down just a hair every single time. And you can go a little bit faster. You can work in different planes. You can move laterally. You can work diagonally. Take a few steps forward, a few steps back. And time. Whew. All right, that was round one. We're going to do that one more time, and then we'll change up the exercises. So this is kind of an intermediate-ish workout here. All right, ready? And let's go. Clean the catch. Back around. Back around. Oh, wait, no. We got a rest period here. See, I totally understand timers here. So that's the fun part of these interval timers. I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm going to keep that in there. So this was 15 seconds of rest between each one, and then a minute rest after you've performed one cycle. Yeah, so it gives you just enough time to recover. So it's going to turn into about 2 minutes of work. That's why I want you to go light with this. This is conditioning. Heart rate is, it's up there. It's like zone 2 right now. I can talk while I'm doing this. If you went a little bit heavier or pushed yourself a little bit harder, you're not going to be able to as easily. So err on the side of caution. Go lighter than you think, just because the purpose of these is, I love these for my morning cardio. I love these for adding in a little conditioning during the day. Something that's not going to be too strenuous. So right back at it. This is not your sprint. It's not your interval training where you're trying to go up to 80, 90% heart rate max. I want you to focus more on the movements, more on the technique. And like I said in the last one, just to give you some new ideas on how to incorporate the kettlebell. Making sure we're practicing that hinge. So common mistake with ballistic hinging, fast, explosive hip drive is, number one, too far down. You're getting below parallel. So notice on the downswing, my shoulders stay well above my hips. So notice how shoulders are above hips. And then on the top of this position. And you're not going to experience it too much with the clean to catch, but with swings, you'll focus on overdriving the hips. So just try to stand as vertical as possible. Create tension, focus on that breath. And even if you don't time your breath perfectly where you're exhaling on that pull, just make sure you're keeping tension the entire time throughout your core. And down. Shake it out. Back to bottoms up. Oh, I like bottoms up. Bottoms up is a great predecessor to presses because it gets you into a nice position. So that forearm stays vertical, that shoulder automatically drops down, that lat engages. You can't shrug as you do this. So using the bottoms up march and the bottoms up half press, where you only come up halfway, it's a great way to learn that starting point from the single arm press. And down. And you don't need to go heavy. Don't need to go heavy with that one. It's gonna burn out your grip there. Other side, and then we'll take another little break. So if your bell is way too heavy, just go into the rack position. So into that racked march. If it's really light, you can elevate that elbow so that your upper arm is parallel to the ground. And that's a lot harder, even with a relatively light weight. So I can add some speed here. It's creating this kind of lateral movement back and forth that's forcing me to grip even tighter. And time. And important note, when you're putting the bell down, regardless if it's the last rep, I want you to be incredibly safe with this. Put the bell down under control, control that downswing, control it. Never just drop the weight. Even in my own gym, try not to just drop the weight. All right, so that was the first circuit, just 2 exercises, left and right, and then we did it twice. Next one, we're gonna start off with a one-arm swing, and we're gonna keep it nice and simple. And then from there, we're gonna go on the other side, one-arm swing, then we're gonna go into a staggered suitcase squat. So the stagger position, kickstand position, all that's gonna happen, so if feet are together bilateral, we're gonna slide one foot back so that my toe is in line with my heel. So now the focus is gonna be on that fully planted foot, the leg of that fully planted foot. So there might be a little rotation, there might be a little lean, and that's okay. So just try to stay as solid as possible to not overdo that lateral flexion. All right, 10 seconds. We're going one arm swing. If you do not know the one arm swing, you've never done the one arm swing, you're going to do a single arm deadlift, just like that, okay? If not, let's go, one arm swing. Now with the one arm swing, it's important to not worry so much about the height of the bell. So this is why when I teach the swings, I typically like to go into a compact variation where I'm only focusing on that hip hinge and that hip extension, and I'm trying to keep my arm tucked to my body. So that's gonna reinforce a really solid connection from my arm to my torso on that downswing. And what that does is that helps me avoid dragging the bell or going too far down with that bell. So I'll give you the other side, nice profile. Ready, and one arm swing. So what I mean by that with this compact variation, so I can focus on that hip extension, is to avoid that. I don't want to let the weight drag me down. I want to sink into my hips, into my glutes, my hamstrings, a little bit of quad, so I'm not completely locked out like a stiff leg deadlift. And there was a point to the rest of that, but I already forgot. All right, start on the right side, stagger the position, focusing on that right leg. Depending on your limbs, maybe coming down halfway is all you can do. If you can come down, touch the ground, even better, but make sure that you're not breaking at your lower back and then rounding a ton. Try to keep some tension there and really focus on that descent. Try to control that So even though this is a conditioning focused workout, it doesn't mean that we're trying to just, haphazardly do these exercises. I was trying to combine haphazardly and mindlessly. I don't even know what kind of word was about to come out. Other side. Dude, heart rate is up there right now. Ready. And bring it up. Same idea. We're going to stagger it, come down. So I can use this other foot as little or as much as I want. So right now, I maybe have 20% of my weight on that foot. The majority is on my left side. If I want to even it out a little bit more, cool. All it's going to do is it's going to force one knee into a little bit more flexion, and it's going to break that tension, or I'm going to have to create more tension because I'm not going to be as stable in my hips. So I'm a big proponent of working through different planes, working in different stances and positions, not to, emulate life in terms of like, oh, this is functional if I do it this way. It's just to practice these different angles, these different positions, so that if I find myself in those positions, I am typically going to be a little bit safer. So it's not about, there aren't necessarily bad exercises, just unprepared bodies, unprepared joints where you don't work in certain speeds or at certain loads or in certain ranges of motion or directions. So being able to practice those things, somewhat sparingly, not your entire workout, but adding those pieces is just a great kind of addition to a very, basic strength plan. Let's get your heart rate up. Little swings, little squats. Oh, one more set. So I'll give you a little upgraded swing variation. So we're going to stick to that kickstand. The bell's in the right hand. You're going to slide that foot back. So bilateral stance, slide it back, and we're going to just sink into that left hip. So what I like about this one is this sets me up to add a little bit of rotation, but still keeping me in that predominantly sagittal plane. So I can stay very square the entire time, or I can shift my weight and open up the hips. Otherwise, just go right back to bilateral. And down. The question always pops up, what do I do with my other hand? I don't give a shit what you do with the other hand. Let it swing with it, keep it tight. It doesn't matter. You can do jazz hands for all I care. All right, left hand, one arm swings. I'm gonna do that stagger position. Again, so this allows me to focus primarily on one leg, and in this case, being explosive on that leg. Maintaining tension, and even though I'm talking, I'm creating tension the entire time. If you were to come punch me, assuming you don't have a very strong punch, it would only hurt you. And down. All right, staggered squat, back to the other side, both sides, and then we're done. All right, ready. Grab the bell, down and up. So if you want a little bit more of a challenge, slow down that descent, pause for a second, stand up. Slow down the descent, stand up. Chest nice and proud, so I'm not rounding under the pressure. Even a lightweight, once you start to fatigue, will accumulate some pressure here. Words are fun. I'm beyond zone 2 now. Getting sweaty, feeling good. Let's do the other side. You can see just one kettlebell. These aren't hard exercises. I can go much heavier with a squat or much heavier with a bottoms up clean or a clean to catch. But with this work to rest ratio, perfect for a light bell, perfect for some active recovery, some conditioning, and just to have some fun with your bell, assuming your idea of fun is warped like mine. Stand up tall, back straight, straight-ish. And time. All right. I'm gonna tell you, timer paused. Thank you. All right, shake it off. So that was 15 minutes. It was 4 exercises. I'll have it all written down. But again, the purpose of these is, number one, I've been incorporating them into my training, and I just really enjoy them. So even though I have kind of a very structured strength program, I like to incorporate these 15, 20-minute conditioning style workouts, especially middle of the day. I'm tired. I'm dealing with kids. I got 4 kids and some more. But anyway, it's just something to kind of reinvigorate me and help me just get some endurance training, some cardio in a very short and concise way. So it's just 15 minutes. That's all I ask of you. Hopefully you enjoyed. And my goal with these, again, is just to deliver some of the stuff that I like to do with the kettlebell and show you some different ways that you can incorporate the kettlebell. And if you want to take that even further, check out the Kettlebell Mastery Series, where I got lots of coaching, programming, so that if you're a coach, you add so much value to your clients. And if you are a trainee, then you'll just add another layer of depth to your training, because now you have another tool that you can play around with and have some fun with. So links are all, I don't know, they're all over the place, but I'll see you on the next one.